Right then. So now we start to get into like the actual crafting that I can actually sort of perform. Tinker-related crafts. And this is something that's, you know, I guess I sort of expect to take like a full episode. Because there is a lot, and I mean a lot, of Tinker-related crafts that I can do. And I suppose I should probably go with this stuff here first. So basically there's like, you know, you can turn like ingots into like, or you can turn like, you know, ores into ingots. And this can be a useful way of basically, you know, getting stuff. I think it's used for a wand. So malachite, I can like, just immediately turn into like copper, so I might as well just do that. Because coal actually has properties for other stuff. You can use it to make steel. And like you can use it for other stuff as well. Like Aqua Fortis right here. So depending on its use, I might want to save this for other stuff, so... we won't worry about, you know, using this just yet. Okay, you got the native platinum here. I think that's just, you know... pretty obvious what it's going to be used for, just native platinum. That's it, it just crafts into platinum. Native gold. Native gold. Argentite. Bauxite. Hematite. Casterite. So, that stuff. Wands and that stuff. That stuff. Wands and that stuff. That stuff. And plastic ore, if you can find, can be turned into like this plastic stuff, you know. Plastic ingots. That makes sense, right? Plastic ore. Note to self, chalk is very important for alchemical stuff as well as for, you know, ingots. So I guess I'll throw this up here. For now. I'll throw this stuff into my inventory. And we will start the process of crafting a whole lot of ores. So, I go to my ingot press here, and we start just crafting away. So craft. Craft. Craft that stuff. And it's worth noting, by the way, I don't actually have to combine like these ores into like make like, you know, stuff. Ores basically just get turned into like a single ingot, so you can just turn ore straight into ingots when you need to. So, I don't have to pay attention to like what this stuff basically is just yet. Alright, so now I got a whole lot of ores. Now, I want to note that I basically, you know, turned all my ores into ingots. At Tinker level 7, you basically get a lot more like ingots from your like, you know, skill level, so you basically get like, you know, more for like a single ore, like you, as opposed to like if you had like a single level of it, the skill, tinkering. So that's why I sort of waited all this time to basically do this, because they basically get more out of my skill as a result. And then I can do more. And platinum. Alright, well that's out of the way. Now I can use like these ingots to craft some stuff. It's worth knowing, by the way, that of this stuff here, steel can be crafted from like iron combined with like bitness coal and chalk. So if you need to get more steel, that's one way of getting it. Though I think at this point I actually have a fair bit of steel. Or no steel. Alright, there's the steel. So there's some steel basically right now. If I need to get more, I've got plenty of iron of it to basically, you know, turn with coal if I find some more coal. And all this stuff, as you can see, is used to craft a lot of stuff. Though a lot of it's like tinkering related. Electrum! So, there's something I say, you know, that's a very powerful, you know, thing to get, Electrum. I don't think I need gold for anything myself, so I might just turn this all into Electrum, perhaps. Yeah, you can turn, like, the silver and gold into Electrum, which is basically a really powerful ore for, like, more powerful tinkering stuff. Or I get the solution of gold, which is kind of useless to me, so... Electrum, I think, is what we'll probably make with gold and silver. Just gonna quickly go through this again. If I had Smith, I could do a lot of ingots, but because I only took tinkering, I'm sort of limited to basically, you know, mechanical stuff. But that's fine. So gold and silver. Combine these two, and you can make Electrum. So there's some Electrum that I can use for stuff. Let's put that right there. I'll put the gold right underneath it. I'll pick up the steel for later. And apparently I had some Electrum right here. So now I've got 10 Electrum, 4 gold. That's fine. Let's pick all this stuff up just so I have it in my inventory. Quite a few ores in the game, as you can see, but that's to be expected. There's lots to craft. Alright, bronze. Bronze is like, you know, something you can use to basically craft some stuff. But I think that copper also gets turned into brass, I think. So you have to sort of balance what you're using it for. So yeah, here's like copper. Copper can be used to craft either of this stuff. There's brass. There's bronze. Tin plus copper equals bronze. Zinc plus copper equals brass. And you just sort of balance when it's like worth it to, like, you know, do that sort of stuff, basically. So tin and zinc. That's basically their only use. And I guess this stuff right here. So, oil vitriol, zinc ingots, copper ingots can be used to make the Vulcan cell, which is actually used to power a few things. Worth noting. Since those are all related, I guess we'll put them down to, like, sort of together. So copper, zinc, tin. We'll put bronze right here, and brass right there. That's iron, by the way. That's steel. As you can see, that's a lot of stuff you can craft with iron and steel. That's to be expected, of course, but, you know, I just want to point it out. Alright, aluminum can be used to craft a few things. You can make some dust with it. You just need to grind it down, I think, to do that. The grinder here. This stuff can be used for very few tinker items like this thing here. Or not that right there, but you can use it to make this thing right here. The thermite bomb. So how does that make thermite bombs? Okay. Throwing weapons. Alright, let's see if I have any, you know, better uses for aluminum. So smithing, 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 smithing. Pipes. So there's stuff I can do with, like, you know, this stuff. I can make myself a pipe out of aluminum. That's likely what I'm going to do with aluminum, just because I don't plan to make bombs out of it, so let's go like so. It's dangerous to go alone. Make this. Oops, these things don't stack apparently. Maybe they do. Nope, these are actually mace-class weapons, these aluminum tubes. Interesting. Good to know, I guess. Let's go put these over here. And I think we'll hold off making any more aluminum stuff, so... No, I'll put that right there. Use this, by the way, to basically make some, you know, powerful stuff. You use this to craft, make like the most powerful, like, you know, crossbow type of thing here. You can use it to make this stuff here, the self-sealing stem bolt. That's used for a few crafts. A shiv apparently can be made out of it. I don't know why, but okay. Maybe I'll make one of these just so you can see that being done. For this, I need to get some brass mechanisms, some copper wire, and some brass piping. And brass piping can be crafted with brass. I guess I already have them, so let's just do this and that. Pick up one of those. And copper. So there's like all the items basically make, you know, one of these, like, you know, self-sealing stem bolts. Not used in a few constructions, basically. There's a spring-loaded power core. Another thing to make. Alright, there's a self-sealing stem bolt, so might as well make just one of those. Why not? We'll make another one. So there we go, we made a couple self-sealing stem bolts. That thing right there. Might as well put this down here with this stuff, because this is like, you know, used to make like better stuff. Iron, platinum. What will platinum bring me? Let's do a look at this first, I guess. So here's a plastic ingot. This can be used to craft a few things. You can craft like this spiffing stuff. And on Notebook, you can actually craft plastic rings out of like plastic ingots for free. So that's one of the things you can use plastic for. Or you can spiff with them. Or you can make a paddle and cone out of them. A Cybernautic amulet. This is an amulet wrought from the finest dwarven plastics and copper wiring. It sparkles with mysterious Vulcan energy. So there's like something I can craft right now. Want to make use of like, you know, plastic for something. You can make flasks with it for free. And I guess for the most part, the only thing I can really use plastic for is this and this. Maybe I'll make one of these just to, you know, to have a better amulet, because I actually don't have that great of an amulet, I don't think. Well, it's not terrible what I have. But I'm pretty sure this is still better. So I need to get plastic, copper, Voltic cell. The Voltic cell is... Alright, that's actually something I want to save because it's hard to make those because I don't have the, you know, oil for it. Platinum. Platinum's used to make a bunch of stuff. Platinum gear. And apparently that's all it's really used for except for this thing here. The if you basically get like some electrum, some platinum, an aqua regia, a diamond, you can make yourself the air power cylinder. So that's what that's going to be used for. Must just throw us right next to it, I guess. I'm not sure what we'll do with plastic. I have access to plastic, but I don't have any like reason to basically use it. I guess I'll save plastic for now, so we don't really use it for anything. I'll put this stuff here until I decide to do something with it. Iron and steel are basically the main components for a lot of my tinkering stuff. Might as well go up to them again. Basically, with iron, you can make a whole lot of this, like, you know, stuff as you can see here. With a leather belt and some iron, you can make yourself the spiked leather collar, which basically, I guess that's like, you know, an amulet. You can also use some other stuff of it as well. Iron. I just like this thing here. The Magnetronic shield. There's the Magnetronic plate. The only thing I really know for sure with iron is that I'm either going to turn into bolts or armor at some point. Now, steel is something actually really major to note. Steel is actually something I can turn into like crossbows, and that's actually something I'm probably going to use for steel 4. Ultimately, I want to try and get to like this like steel recurve crossbow, I think it's called. And that like takes a little bit to build, so I need to get like all my steel to make it. Here's what I can use steel basically initially for. I get 1 brass mechanism, 2 brass mechanisms, 3 brass mechanisms, 4 brass mechanisms, and a spring-loaded power core. And if I go down here to it again, a 5th brass mechanism, a 2nd spring-loaded core, the steel here, all the crossbows I have to make in addition to it, and I can make this thing right here. And down the line, when I get the secret recipe for it, I can make like the clockwork bolt thrower, which is like the most powerful bow weapon I think in the game, by the looks of it. There's probably like, you know, name dives and stuff, but I want to craft my own stuff. Okay, we got the brass ingots over here. I guess that makes sense though. I have to, like, you know, use my zinc and my copper to make a whole lot of that stuff, perhaps. Crap. Brass needs what? Zinc. Crap, I don't have a whole lot of zinc, so I actually can't make my stuff. I want to make this, you know, the wrong things, I guess, somewhat. Well, whatever, we're gonna start making my crossbow now. There's the steel for it. And here we go. So, I can use, like, you know, steel ingots and brass mechanisms to make myself a crude steel crossbow. And this is basically how, like, you know, this game sort of works with, like, this stuff. You basically, like, you know, create, like, this initial crossbow. And then from it, you, like, upgrade it to, like, a better crossbow with the same crossbow and, like more steel and stuff. And I sort of, like, keep going, like, in this direction to basically make better and better ones. So the simple steel crossbow I'm currently wielding. If I add more steel, more brass mechanisms, I can make a steel lever crossbow, which is even more powerful. Yeah, I'm sneezing a little bit, but whatever. Now, I want to note, by the way, that a major part of this game, to sort of note, is that if you basically have, what can I say about it? If you basically have like the like, you know, bigger levels, you have more chance to basically get, like, you know, ingots like this. So you basically get like more crafts going on in, like, you know, bigger games. But I'm not really, like, necessarily trying to, like, do, like, my best at crafting. I just want to sort of show off a little bit what it's all about, what it sort of entails. Alright, I know I need a Voltic cell for stuff, so let's put it down over here. put that stuff like this. I never actually looked at gems. Gems are, you know, used for crafting, so let's look through our gems to see what I can use, or what's worth keeping, what's not worth keeping. So amber, nature finds a way. Smithing, alchemy, 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 something else. Amethysts are used to do a little bit of tinkering. So amethysts you can use to basically make this like sort of like, you know, Mace of Windu. Not exactly what I need, you know, for myself, so amethysts are basically out. I get rid of amethysts. Rubies are basically made to like, you know, make like these like, you know, gem encrusted crossbows. That's worth knowing. I actually need, I can use like an iron lever crossbow to basically make that. Do I need brass mechanisms, I think, to make it? Yeah, brass mechanisms. Yeah, there's stuff I can use like rubies for. Gem encrusted like crossbows. I might have like, you know, not needed to buy these rubies actually. So a bit of a waste. I bought some rubies, I don't need them. Probably don't want to ever waste the brass mechanisms on them, so this is probably worth selling. Okay, amber. Amber I said I don't need. Pirate Sun and Sapphire. Sapphire is used to make this stuff. So sapphires I don't need for tinkering. And yeah, I'll note that like with gems, they're mainly used for like, you know, crafting potions with alchemy. And like, you know, smithing in some cases. Not much else. There's all this stuff over here. Pirate Sun, alchemy, smithing, alchemy. So all this like gems I guess are like, you know, stuff I sell because I don't really need them for, well, I'll keep these around I guess, but I don't need these gems at all. So these are all for selling. Okay, pressure plates I think are not useful to me. Pressure plates are basically used to make traps. That's what they're used for. That's basically all they're used for. Pressure plates are for traps. I think where I covered the powdered aluminum is just basically for alchemical ingredients. Items. Where is the stuff I'm looking for? Ores? Okay, so yeah, powdered aluminum is basically used to make, you know, alchemical stuff. And wand stuff. And fermites. But I don't need to make fermites, so don't need powdered aluminum myself. It's a strictly controlled substance in Dwarven society. Salt. Salt is actually used for a few things, I think. Use it for wand stuff, alchemy, wand, and you can also use it to make this stuff here, the aquafortis, if you have access to like the oil vitriol and other stuff here. So salt will throw over here. I might as well throw this over here too. Black powder is used to make a few tinkering things, like this thing right here. That's the bullet belt. Pretty though they may be, though these bullets will never catch on. What will the market dominate by shadowy technicals of the Bulk Council? So brass piping, black powder, leather belt, and you get yourself this thing right here. Or I can make you use like these makeshift bombs, of course. Black powder turns into makeshift bombs. That's a tinkering thing. And you can also make it into like, you know, these things here, the shoddy Dwarven IEDs, or the shoddy Dwarven IEDs. Or you can make better ones. Dwarven landmine. Well, let's see here. What else was I looking at? Rust. Rust is basically useless, I think. You basically use it for alchemy. Oh, okay, use it for regeneration too, I guess. Vermite. So I guess I'll throw that with the alcohol. I'll put this with the bombs down here, I guess. Or over here. Well, that basically took a little while to do, but there's basically, you know, a look at basically all the crafting I was able to basically do for now. I realize it's not a whole lot, but I mean, that basically is what, you know, what the crafting sort of entails. You go through a whole lot of ingredients, and there is a lot of ingredients to go through, and then you go from there. Okay, let's start dropping some of these bolts that I have a whole lot of. Any bolts I have of in the double digits, I'm basically going to keep. Anything else, I'll basically ditch. I have a lot of weapons, to be honest. In the darkest days of the Fairy Elven War, this barbarous device was unveiled by the Undermountain clans to terrible effect. So many different bows, or arrows to shoot. Well, there's all my bolts. I have lots and lots of bolts. I guess until I get some money, I won't worry about buying that stuff. The bolts basically from the first level. Let's go this way to get downstairs, I guess. And here's the level for... so much blood spatter. I'm actually going to go to the shop, I think, first with some of my gems. So let's go do that and get that out of the way. So we'll sell my gems, make a little bit of money. Sell that stuff, I guess. Alright, so most of that stuff was just crap, I guess, so... oh well. Good to know. And I might as well just drop all this stuff here, because I don't plan to use it. And now we'll head back downstairs. Alright, well. So here's like the 5th level. I guess I should go check to make sure there is no crafting tables and stuff around, because I don't want to find out there was some somewhere. I still got a little bit of time to sort of kill in this episode, so I might as well just do it. This game has lots of glitches and errors and stuff. Fun to kill. The experience is lovely. I've tipped 108 pieces to the Lutefisk God. That vegetable is dead. I'm just rinsing through everything in here. Alright, well, that's basically it for down here. There was indeed no crafts, I guess, around. Well, I guess next time we'll basically go from level 6. Enchanted Plague Potato. A giant floating, roof-flapping, iron-crusted demonic potato. The horror. We'll see what this is all going to entail when I come back. And I'll basically see you guys next time. Hopefully I'll find a whole lot of, like, you know, zinc, so I can make a whole lot of, like, brass ingots, and I can, like, make those mechanisms, make, like, a very steel crossbow. And we'll do some other stuff from there. But for now, take care. It's been a long episode, or a long 2 episodes. And I'll get back into the swing of things next time.